Hey, welcome to VMware Explore Barcelona 2024, Day 4, John. How you feeling?
I feel like we're rounding the corner. I can actually hear the party band doing the warm-ups right now.
Can you smell the tapas?
I can smell the tapas. They're there. But I think there's still some more value to squeeze out of this conference.
Very good with the segue, John. Yes. We're talking about the VAO program, the Value Added OEM program, and we're going to learn all about that. But before we do, let's bring on our guest. We've got David Cairns. Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Also, we have Alex Mathews. Alex, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, gentlemen, let's just start from the top for those that are not aware. What is the Value Added OEM program?
So, the Value Added OEM...
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Original equipment manufacturers OEM, right?
Correct, exactly. So yeah, the Value Added OEM program at Broadcom is a very exclusive partner program, and it's specifically for the OEM hardware vendors to build engineered solutions around VCF. So Broadcom was extremely clear from the outset of this program that they had to engineer integrated offerings around VCF. So kind of the point of that was to kind of start with VCF as a design principle and then innovate amongst themselves. Because the legacy agreements we had with these guys going back 20 years, you can remember, was a very patchwork of contracts, right? So we leveled the playing field. Everyone kind of got a very similar agreement. And now the innovation and differentiation happens beyond them, so in their market. So I think we observed that Dell had a massive success building an integrated offering around VxRail.
Yep.
So for many years, they were able to show at scale customers were willing to invest in something like that.
Billions a year run rate.
It's huge, exactly. So the point is that we're kind of building on that success, but this time with all of the partners, with a level playing field, and a full stack VCF subscription instead. I think what they're hoping to achieve is that they can go out into the market and differentiate because they've got so many different characteristics and specialties around professional services or their infrastructure solutions or indeed any kind of financial services and consumption wraparound. So yeah, customer wins because they get choice, turnkey solution with their preferred x86 vendor. So yeah, that kind of sums up what value-added OEM is.
All right, so Alex, what exactly are they selling?
Well, I mean, David's talked about the co-engineered solutions. That's fundamental. So we're taking the best of Cloud Foundation. That's got to be the starter point. But it's also then married up with the best of class x86 hardware from that value-added OEM. So if that was just it, it'd be interesting, but not really powerful. So the power comes from this has been pre-tested and pre-integrated with our engineering teams and their engineering teams. And when a customer wants to order it, it's factory built. So getting on site and standing up my private cloud, which is where the value comes from for the actual customer side, well, I want that to happen as quickly as possible. What I don't want is to have to organize all of my very rare skills, probably at a weekend or two,
right.
Get my data center kit racked, get it all network connected, then do the hardware configuration guide checks. Do I have the right firmware versions? Have I got the right drivers? And then do all of my installations. And then at the end of it, ta-da, I've got my private cloud.
Yeah.
That's cool. But wouldn't it be really nice if that comes factory built for you out of the box? It's delivered to site. You're still going to need to rack and stack the network connectivity, but all of the hard work is done for you. That means that the customer can really focus on getting value from the outcome we want, optimizing and using that private cloud.
So look, breaking this down a bit, like I'm thinking of a Gantt chart, as one does when you do an install and breaking out those various areas. And so it sounds like from this OEM, I can, get someone to rack stack hardware, step one. Two, they obviously sell switches. They can handle that cabling configuration of those switches, throwing the 7 VLANs, that of ancient wonder that VCF expects. Help with the design of those workload domains. Do the install of the components itself, the PSO component. Previously I would have a separate team for each of these, maybe a separate structured cable team.
That's right.
Maybe network config. That's 4 teams I'm at now. And no longer do I have to schedule across these different groups, but I can get them from a day zero value, bringing up, do the additional checks, get that done.
Absolutely, John. So this is all about if the customer is committing to Cloud Foundation, they just want to see the value as quickly as possible. So
I want to buy a cloud. I don't want to be an integrator.
I want a cloud as a turnkey solution in a box. That's the whole fundamental principle here.
Okay, so we talked about kind of the day zero bring up there. What are some of the day two differentiators or things that they can provide?
Day two is really where it starts to change significantly. Yeah, we've got day one and we've saved a huge amount of value on day one. Day one's good, but day one only happens once.
Fair.
Yeah? So from a day two perspective, right, let's look at a standard environment over the life cycle. There's going to be the need to patch hardware side and software side. So being able to do that in a pre-tested, factory-engineered approach means that I've got a level of guarantee that this is going to work for me. That's really important.
Okay, so for Lenovo, my xClarity is going to integrate into the vCenter, into the SDC manager, and push that
Well, I haven't got
underlay
on to
with
the
it.
integration yet. So what I've just done is I've just saved significant time and risk to those production workloads by just running Cloud Foundation as a factory-engineered approach, co-engineered solution. The xClarity integration, that's a really good example, John. Lenovo have worked massively hard to do some really unbelievably deep integrations with Cloud Foundation in the factory engineered offering we have. Now, what does that really mean to a customer? All of my hardware, all of my software is managed from one single pane of glass.
Yeah.
xClarity is really good at doing the orchestration and stand-up. The integration it gives from the hardware side in particular is unbelievable in terms of the power to manage that x86 hardware. But marry that with my Cloud Foundation software, now I'm cooking on gas. Now I can really have a single pane of glass view to manage everything in one place.
So I've got my pane of glass, and I hopefully don't have any pain, but I have an issue, and there's all these different disciplines and areas we've announced. I'm operating cloud at rack scale, if you will. Who do I call?
Well, there's where the next differentiator comes in. So it's software. Inevitably, there's going to be some problems, infinitely small, but it's going to happen sometimes.
Sure.
There's hardware. Components are bound to fail sometimes. Infinitely small, we all hope, but it is going to happen. So with the value-added OEM approach, with the co-engineered solution, it's literally one phone call. So irrespective of a hardware problem or a software problem, we've got our value-added OEMs who've had 20 plus years of experience supporting VMware environments who are there to help support our customers. Now that means hardware or software, it's not a problem. How many painful support calls have we all been on where the problem is somewhere, but we don't know where?
Well, and preventing the need for that redirect or call this person and your solution's in another castle, we can avoid that.
They never blame each other, do they?
Oh, it never happens. No.
So in terms of we've stood this up. We know who to support. Obviously, we're in Europe. I mentioned castles, the land of castles.
This is EMEA.
There's different castles, different languages. All these different things. Who are we working with here? Because I know there's. I go look at the server, all the different server vendors we work with. Across all. Some of them are very specific to regions and things like that. Who are the relevant players here, and who can I call and take next steps with?
Well, we've already mentioned one of them. So Lenovo got a bit of press early on. So let's recognize Lenovo because they're our gold sponsor here this week. So a big thank you to Lenovo for all their support in the various sessions they've supported and things they've invited us to. No, thank you, Lenovo. But also, on a serious note, their innovation around things like private AI and what they're doing with NVIDIA, some of the stuff they've done at the edge.
They have some really cool form factors.
Really cool stuff, yeah. And they sometimes just get they're the third biggest or whatever, but they're so much more than that, and that's how we always
Their
find
supply
them.
chain on Flash is incredible. They consume more NAND Flash than anybody else in the world.
And they have the best sponsorship deals as well.
There you go.
Yeah, F1, they've got some good stuff. So we love working with them. Thank you very much. So gold sponsored this week. Obviously then HPE. So our relationship with HPE is so important. So they give us access to some of their huge strategic customers. So they've got presence across the whole of EMEA in key markets. And the thing about an HPE customer is it tends to have been a long-term customer. Deep relationship, deep technology understanding. So for them, for Broadcom, that gives us great access to some of their deep customers. Obviously, we talked about Dell. So Dell's install base across EMEA and the whole EMEA region is vast on VxRail. So again, for many years they've had the number one position in HCI. So we're really excited about building on that with them to go back and kind of work with these customers and partners on VCF now, full stack subscription. We've managed to kind of segue VxRail away from where it was going now onto this nice, VCF subscription, and it's been relatively painless. So, thank you, Dell, for all your support in doing that. Fujitsu, next one, they give us some incredible public sector frameworks where they are king. So across,
I've seen them a lot on telco also, and
yeah, but they're how people perhaps perceive Fujitsu in Japan is very different to how they're looked over here.
Okay, yeah.
They made some acquisitions over here. So in the UK, they bought ICL years ago. So that's big public sector frameworks, and same across Germany and Iberia. So they're characterized like that. Then we've got Hitachi Vantara, who are again bringing us some really strategic storage type deals, which is great.
Every Hitachi customer I've ever worked in, it's like, I talked to someone, I was like, how much storage do you have? They're like, 10, 100 petabytes. So I was like, you a Hitachi customer? Like, there's a heavy Venn overlap there. There's some big accounts.
So again, so I guess what I've described there is like a kaleidoscope of the partners that you'd want. I mean, everyone we invited to this program joined up. But across EMEA, it's a dream because we can meet just about every single customer where they are, given the market presence that our value-added OEM partners have got. So it's been a fantastic...
Meet the different verticals, the different sectors, the different countries.
Segments, yeah.
Speak the languages. Not everyone speaks, American like we do. So.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to sell something in Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan, we've got partners there with, local language and, local support. It's fantastic. So,
and that support is really important. So local language capabilities to have that one phone call anywhere in Europe is unbelievably important. When the systems are down and it's hitting the fan, I need to talk to someone in my own language without needing to translate through a second language to solve the problem.
Yeah, and let's not forget the private cloud software alliance choices that these guys have is not as limited as it used to be, right? So the fact that they are all embracing this Broadcom strategy with us is really pleasing, and it's keeping VMware at the core of their own narrative for hopefully many years to come. So that's great.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, but you may have already answered this, is like, why should a partner or even a customer think about working with a value-added OEM?
Well, I've kind of covered the fundamental building blocks. I mean, John, thanks for kind of like the leadings. Unbelievably, I'll pay you later. What you've effectively got is, the tagline is effectively, if I am committed to private cloud, and why wouldn't you be to unlock the value that we've all seen at the conference this year? The fundamental is, it's the quickest way to unlock private cloud is to use a value-added OEM engineered solution. That should be a mic drop moment. I won't, I'll break equipment.
Don't drop my mic.
But moving on, what we're really talking about is let's get this stood up really quickly. Let's get the value recognized. Let's hope the risk to service is massively minimized by using our engineered factory approach so that no matter what happens, we have the capability to support it. And if the worst did happen, let's have one person to talk to help fix the problem more rapidly than you otherwise would. Now, from a partner lens perspective, don't forget as well, if I bought my x86 hardware and my software separately, I'm now trying to do 2 separate contracts with the same customer.
Correct.
That's a nightmare. I've been there and done that. It's not nice. So the value-added OEMs also bring a simple bill of materials that allows that partner to easily work with that customer. Can't underestimate the value of that as well.
Yeah,
I think that's a mic drop.
That is a mic drop moment right there. That's it. It makes no sense to not be part of this program, especially here in EMEA. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Virtually Speaking, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Explore.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks for having us.